Good morning, class. My name is Aaron Smith, and today I will be talking about identity theft, the effects of identity theft, and some ways you can protect yourself from becoming a victim. I would like to start off by talking about a few facts associated with identity theft. In 2013, identity theft was classified as the fastest growing crime in the United States. According to an article on CNN Money, every 2 seconds, an incident of fraud occurs. Every year, the Federal Trade Commission ranks the top consumer complaints throughout the United States, and in 2014, identity theft took first place for the 15th year straight. The year 2014 marked the first year that the medical sector had more data breaches than any other sector. Therefore, protecting your health insurance card is just as important as protecting your Social Security card. Nowadays, children are targeted as well. Criminals steal the Social Security number of children and use them to create a new line of credit, therefore rendering the child oblivious to the crime until he or she reaches the age of 18 and applies for a credit card or tries to open a new bank account. There are many cases that involve someone that the victim knows as the criminal. For instance, a neighbor checks your mailbox and finds a credit card offer and applies for the credit card in your name, but receives it in their mail. There are also many cases where criminals obtain personal information through the internet. One of the easiest ways is through social media profiles. Almost all of victims' personal information is on their smartphones, especially if they use it to shop online. Now I want to shift to a particular case where an individual has fallen victim to identity theft. The victim's name is Amy Kurd from Ohio. She thought that she was safe from being a victim of identity theft because she was a careful person, but someone easily infiltrated her credit report and credit history. She was one of the more fortunate victims in which the criminal was caught and arrested, pled guilty, and was sentenced to a felony. But since this was a nonviolent felony, she was not sentenced to any jail time. Amy received a phone call from a major credit card company's fraud department one day. Her initial thoughts were it was a fraudulent call, until she cross-checked the number and noticed that it wasn't. She contacted them, and the company informed her that someone had tried to obtain a credit card using her name, address, and Social Security number. The company flagged the inquiry and deactivated the card. She decides to check all 3 of her credit reports to see what the damage was and then contact the police. Almost 2 years passed, and she tried to check all 3 of her credit reports. The site asked her to identify herself using questions like, which of these 4 addresses have you lived at, and which of these employers have you worked for? She was unable to access two of her reports because the criminal had infiltrated her credit history to the point that the criminal's information overrode hers. Amy felt like someone had took control of her life. After finally guessing the questions, she noticed that there were a few new accounts after new accounts and inquiries after inquiry. Since she could not access her own reports online, she had to request them by mail, and this took her mailing her birth certificate, Social Security card, and utility bills to the credit bureau. Amy noticed after receiving these that the criminal had opened up around 50 plus accounts. She obtained a police report and affidavit, but this wasn't enough. So she placed a fraud alert on her credit reports, and then she eventually froze them. She noticed that she had a medical collection agency on the report, and this frightened Amy because she realized that the criminal had used her social security number to get medical attention. Amy noticed that the criminal was using her maiden name and a 10-year-old address of Amy's. After the criminal was found, Amy tried, as part of the police, to find out where the criminal got her information, but was never successful in gathering that information. The criminal had utility, phone, and even subscriptions to a local newspaper. For Amy, catching this criminal was fairly easy. The criminal had cable turned on to her apartment, goods and services mailed to her address, and when she signed up for a utility or phone, she used her own name. The police built a case against her and sent out a warrant for her arrest, and a neighboring community arrested her. Initially, the criminal didn't plead guilty, therefore, she had to go through the municipal court, grand jury, and the grand jury indicted her, and then pre-trial and trial. The criminal finally pled guilty, but since it was a nonviolent, she only served community service. Amy had some cleaning up to do. She had a more difficult time proving that she was who she said she was to all the companies than the criminal had to get the goods and services. Not only did she have to work it out with the companies, she also had to deal with the collection agencies as well. Amy had an attorney pro bono work her case in the medical case, and finally the attorney sent this company a cease and desist letter, and the original company sent a letter saying it had been removed. In the end, Amy felt like this was the most time-consuming, upsetting, emotional event that she had to go through. There are several ways to protect yourself from becoming a victim. Secure your social security number. Don't carry your social security card in your wallet or write your numbers on your checks. Only give out your social security number when absolutely necessary. Don't respond to unsolicited requests for personal information, your name, birthday, social security number, or bank account number by phone, mail, or online. Watch out for shoulder surfers. Shield the keypad when typing your passwords on computers and ATMs. Collect mail promptly. Ask the post office to put your mail on hold when you are away from home. Pay attention to your billing cycle. If bills or financial statements are late, contact the sender. Review your receipts. Ask for carbon copies and incorrect charge slips as well. Promptly compare receipts with account statements. Watch for unauthorized transactions. Shred receipts, credit offers, account statements, and expired cards to prevent dumpster divers from getting your personal information. Store personal information in a safe place at home and at work. Install firewalls and virus detection software on your computer. Create complex passwords that identity thieves cannot guess easily. Change your passwords if a company that you do business with has a breach of its database. Order your credit report once a year and review to be certain that it does not contain accounts that you have not opened. Check it more frequently if you suspect someone has gained access to your account information. Okay, that concludes my presentation of identity theft. Thank you for listening, and remember to protect your identity.